Hello, second graders. So now we are going to reread our Those Darn Squirrels book. But before we reread, I just want to talk about that. Why do we reread books? There's quite a few reasons. And in the slide before watching this video, you guys all talked about or answered why you reread books. And so a few of the reasons why we do that is so that we can check our understanding of books. Sometimes we do miss points in books when we're reading so quickly or when we're reading to peers and we forget to understand what's going on, right? So another reason we reread is because we're interested in that topic and we want to find out more. All right. And so lastly is that we want to work on our reading skills. So sometimes once we read a book or a passage before, it's easier to read that again. And so we can work on those target skills like decoding. All right, so now we are going to reread this together. Those Darn Squirrels by Adam Rubin. Make sure we're paying attention to how the author, Adam Rubin, put this book together part by part. On the outskirts of town, at the edge of the forest, there was a little old house. The only thing older than the little old house was the man who lived in it, Old Man Fookwire. Old Man Fookwire was so old that when he sneezed, dust came out. He was also a grump. He hated pie, and he hated puppies. Who could ever hate puppies? The only thing he liked was birds. All summer long, the old man painted pictures of birds that visited his backyard. There were whirlybirds and bonga birds and baba birds and yabba birds. Even a rare flugel bird came by once or twice. Fookwire's paintings weren't very good, but the birds never said anything. They had a relationship. When the air turned crisp and the leaves began to change color, the old man grew sad. He knew that soon the birds would fly south for the winter, as they did every year, and that he would be lonely. Then he had an idea. If he fed the birds, maybe they would stick around. Wow, look at all those bird feeders. So, Old Man Fookwire built beautiful bird feeders and put them up all around his backyard. He filled the feeders with delicious seeds and berries, and soon birds came from all over the forest just to eat in the old man's yard. All right, friends. So before we read page 10, let's do a little retell. We started learning about where he lived, what he didn't like, what he did like, and how he would keep the birds around. All right, we'll keep on going. But the birds weren't the only ones who liked the bird feeders. The squirrels did too. Not many people know this, but squirrels are the cleverest of all the woodland creatures. In fact, they're fuzzy little geniuses. They can make a house out of a tree, a bed out of a bunch of leaves, and a box kite out of twigs, dirt, and squirrel spit. They are also excellent at math. Winter was fast approaching, and the squirrels needed to gather as much food as they could to get ready. So they decided to take some of the bird food. Oh no. The birds were not happy. Neither was Old Man Fookwire. When he discovered what had happened, he shook his old man fist and yelled, "Those darn squirrels!" He filled up the feeders again, but this time he hung them from a clothesline. Then he went back inside, confident that these squirrels would no longer be able to get the seeds and the berries. But the squirrels were determined. They devised a plan, and this time they took all the food from the bird feeders. Oh no. The birds were furious. Harumph, 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 yelled a bonga bird. Those darned squirrels, yelled Old Man Fookwire. Yum, said the squirrels. Oh, wow. Look how angry they look. Look at these squirrels. Now it was Old Man Fookwire's turn to devise a plan. He went to the general store to get supplies. He bought tasers, clamps. He bought wires and springs. He bought all sorts of tools and built a veritable fortress around his bird feeders. Then he refilled them very carefully. Na, na. Nah, nah, snorted a flugel bird. The squirrels stayed up all night working out their strategy. They drank cherry cola and ate salt and vinegar chips to help them stay awake. Finally, they had it. The perfect plan. They put on their tiny helmets and prepared to launch themselves into the air over the fence, between the lasers, and onto the bird feeders. All right, second graders, stop right there. We are going to do a little bit of story retell because we read 10 whole pages. So after the squirrels wanted the bird feeder, then we learned that they were super clever and really smart. They found the food and ate it all. This made the birds and Mr. Fookwire really mad. We then learned that he tried to put the bird seed high above on a clothesline, and they still got to it. And then he was mad again. The squirrels were so full. They were ready for winter. So the old man decided to make one more plan to keep the squirrels out. And look at that contraption. There was no way they were getting in. They made a plan, and now we'll find out how it went. The first squirrel misfired and hit a tree. Oh no. The second squirrel went too high and landed in a bucket. Oh no! The third squirrel sailed clear over the house. None of them made it. The birds laughed and laughed. They had one last delicious mouthful of seeds and berries from the old man's feeder. Then they flew south for the winter, just as they did every year. Flibbzzt, said the flugel bird. Oh. After the birds left, Old Man Fookwire was lonely, just as he was every year. He fixed himself some cottage cheese and pepper, his favorite snack. But he was still lonely. When he looked out the window, the squirrels could tell that he wasn't happy. Go away, shouted the old man. I don't like you squirrels. Aww. The squirrels held a meeting inside a large tree. They decided to give the old man a present to make up for taking his seeds and berries. Now, not many people know this, but squirrels are not only fuzzy little geniuses. They also collect just about anything they find on the ground. These squirrels had a vast stockpile of spectacular junk to choose from. But what would a Folkwire like? Bottle caps, popsicle sticks, postage stamps. Finally, they had it. The perfect gift. The squirrels stacked all of their loose change on Old Man Folkwire doorstep. There were dimes and pennies. There were nickels and quarters. There were even a few tokens from Coco's Arcade. It all added up to $47.36, plus a few rounds of skee-ball. Maybe you squirrels aren't so bad, Folkwire said when he found the coins. But I still like birds better. This gave the squirrels another idea. They raided their junk collection again and got to work. When Old Man Folkwire woke up the next morning, he was amazed to see the birds had returned. But wait! Those things weren't birds. They were squirrels in disguise. Great googly moogly, said Old Man Folkwire. This will make quite a painting. He ran outside and took down the lasers and the wires and the spring-loaded trapeze. He turned all the bird feeders into squirrel feeders. Then he painted till his brush ran out of bristles. So cool. The squirrels were so overjoyed, they had a party in Old Man Folkwire's house. Those darn squirrels, said Mr. Folkwire, and he shook his old man fist and smiled. Awesome. So if we do a short retell, we can see that the squirrels, they met to make Mr. Folkwire happier. They built things for him, got out scents from the junk. They also created bird wings. They ended up making him happy, and their relationship was better. So, let's talk about how the author put together this story. How did the author make this story fit together? I noticed that the characters started with one relationship where they were mad at each other and ended where they were friends. The story also included a timeline of adventure. They started out where they didn't like each other, and they each had to make plans to get the bird seeds. They then changed those plans into how to make Mr. Folkwire happy after the birds left. So another question is, what lesson is the author trying to teach? What do we think it is? All right, friends. I am going to have you decide what you think the lesson is. I hope you all have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow.